Today I want to introduce you to the Development Management System. The DMS is a new category of technology. It's never existed before, but it's desperately needed right now. A lot of your brethren have it in other business functions, and we're going to talk about those, and it's time for learning and development to be able to benefit from this same type of technology. My name is Bill West. I'm the founder of a company called Quantum 7, and our sole purpose is to help learning and development organizations improve their efficiency and their effectiveness through a variety of channels. And the DMS, the Development Management System, is one of those. Let me back up a little bit. My founders and I have been in this industry for a very long time, and we've been fortunate to serve some of the larger companies in the world. We've collected a lot of case studies. We've seen a lot of examples. We've felt the pains, and we've heard the issues that they've dealt with internally and within outsourcing, and trying to move forward into the future. What is the most pressing issue that we hear over and over again? Well, there are a couple. When we first started with Quantum 7, we had taken a lot of feedback from our clients, and so we had some obvious issues that we knew they were experiencing. Consistency of quality was one that we saw throughout all of our clients and through our competitors and colleagues in the industry, and things like uniformity and getting all of your groups to build things and do things the same way, so it was sort of a predictable result. Those were some of the things that were obvious to us. As we've talked to a lot of clients, we start to hear other words. We start to hear words like visibility, that I want to be able to see all of my projects, no matter where they're produced, no matter who's building them, what country they're in. I need to be able to see everything, and I need to be able to see it quick, because I have to make decisions. I have to make sure things are doing well. Reliability was another one. The opposite of reliability was risk. If the training initiative isn't done on time, then the business initiative tied to that may not be able to be released. The new product may be delayed. A new system implementation may be delayed. Some things that are very, very important, like the adoption of a compliance regulation by law, could be delayed if we can't rely on when the training solution is going to be available. So, this is the words that we heard from a lot of people, and if you stop and think about your own organization, I'd ask you to look at these and say, which ones are you experiencing? Because fundamentally, when it comes to the overall industry, everybody's experiencing these things, all of them in some way or another. Now, why is this? Well, among other reasons, one of the primary reasons is the lack of any kind of technical platform that supports us from day to day. We have a very challenging occupation here. Everything is different every single time. The subject matter changes, the business initiative changes, the audience changes, and we have a lot of things going on at one time. It is a challenging environment, and we're trying to do this environment without any kind of supporting technology. Every other function has one. Your brethren within HR and within accounting and IT and sales and even manufacturing and areas, they all have technology that supports their day-to-day business and all the things they need to do. They're often referred to as an ERP. Companies like Oracle and PeopleSoft and SAP have been focused on supporting these and providing systems that provide everything a person needs to make decisions or actually do their job. But L&D's never had anything like that. None of these vendors have ever paid attention, I guess, to what we're trying to do. What do we have? Well, we have really good tools for planning. When it comes to talent management, curriculum planning, and competency assessments, there's great tools, and there's new tools coming out, it seems, every year. And of course, your various lines of business have their own planning processes that they're going through that are all producing some list of learning initiatives required to support those plans. We have really, really good tools for delivery. I mean, there's hundreds of learning management systems, small and large, out there to help support all of the administrative and delivery needs. And there's measurement tools. Companies like Metrics That Matter are producing tools that are helping us take a look at what was produced and compare them with plans and say, are we getting the results? Of course, we have tools for building the products themselves. So we have tools to help us build ILT. We have authoring tools to help us build web-based solutions and other online solutions. And of course, LCMSs that do what LCMSs do. They help us store content and deliver content. But what about everything in between? What about all of the things that go on a day-to-day basis to get things from planning to the delivery stage? Now we have dozens of projects going on at any given time. For the large organizations, the number is hundreds, hundreds of projects going on simultaneously with different start dates, with different durations, and different subject matters that we're trying to move from planning over to delivery. There's a lot going on. If you take a look at this list, these are things that you're doing every single day, and you're using a variety of tools probably to do those. Everything from planning your entire organization's work on down to getting it done. What tools do we have available to us? Well, some of us have modified, project management tools such as Microsoft Project or @Task to try to get them to do the things that we need. If we were lucky, maybe we had a really good programmer and we could build our own system. Really the foundation of the development management system, in my case, was a e-learning company that I owned that I needed to be able to manage. There wasn't a tool for me. I happen to have a really good programmer. So we came up with the ideas and the functionality that I needed to run the business, and he would build it, and we continued to grow the system. But that was a rare case. I got lucky. There are only a few other companies like that have been able to take advantage of having resources of that nature. And I'll tell you, of the 50 clients that I had, I only encountered one, and it's Bank of America. I'll give them credit because they did an amazing job, where they actually had the time and the resources to step back and build a platform to support their new global learning initiative that they were doing, and a platform that helped them standardize across the organization to get vendors in sync, and some of the things that development management system here to do. But there's not that many other companies that have those kinds of resources. And so day to day, we have lots of email attachments with drafts and reviews going back and forth, and common repositories, SharePoint, Dropbox, and such. But what we have fundamentally in our industry is lots and lots of spreadsheets. Every project manager has their favorite spreadsheet. Every organization is maintaining some spreadsheet to try to roll up budgets and plans, and hopefully actuals also, so you can do comparisons. But it's not enough to run business where everyone's on their own. Every instructional designer, every group, every project manager, every company, every vendor has had to come up with their own way and their own set of tools, because there's just never been anything there to support them. So we built a better solution. We came together, we took a look at all the things that an L&D organization needed to be able to achieve, a lot of those things that I just talked about, and said, look, if we as an industry are going to be able to move forward, if we're going to be able to meet our own personal expectations, but also those expectations of the executives that sponsor us, we've got to have a solution. We've got to have a solution that's going to allow us to do the work that we need to do. So we built a solution. The DMS provides all the functionality to manage the entire business operation, whether it's an internal L&D organization within a corporation or whether it is an outsourcing and consulting provider, small and large. All of those things that you saw on that list and the things that I'll talk about later are embedded into the DMS. And it's in one integrated platform, so it's not scattered about in different spreadsheets or different databases. It's all combined into one thing. The reaction in one feature impacts the functionality of another feature. And we have real-time updates. We're not waiting to the end of the month for the accounting report to find out if our projects are on schedule or not. We deal with projects that may be as short as 3 or 4 weeks and as long as 8 or 10 months. A lot can happen in a 4-week period. We can't just simply wait for these regular accounting reports to give us the things that we need. We want real-time updates. And we're not developing really fit products like tires and credit cards. We're developing knowledge and instruments of knowledge. We're taking amorphous content and we're trying to refine it down through the collaboration of subject matter experts and stakeholders and users and the team to come up with a product that really works. So the DMS has got to provide for that collaborative space. And we want to be able to measure. There are good measurement tools out there, but a lot of it is an add-on, and we're already really busy, so having to do one more step in order to measure isn't something that's really attractive. And doing it at the end is fine in some regards, but that means going back and assessing things that happened in history, as opposed to a DMS, which is collecting data all along the way and giving us something to compare the end result with what we started in the very beginning. So this is what the DMS provides. First of all, production management. I need the ability to plan my entire production, no matter how many development centers and employees I have, whether it's global, wherever it might be. I need to be able to both plan and monitor the overall production, have that visibility. I have to deal with finances. I have my own budget once a year that I have to manage to. If I am a consulting provider, every single one of my projects has got a budget that I have to manage to, and I have to manage my overall organization to make sure I'm making a profit. And of course, all of the people. I may have 50 projects at one time with 50 different people working on them. I need to know who's on first, as they say. I need to know who is busy, who is not busy, and make sure that my resources are completely utilized at the highest possible optimization. And of course, project managers need what project managers need. I need to be able to take a project and break it down into tasks and assign people and set durations and start dates and end dates and put the flow together that's going to allow this project to be successful. The request management piece is one that I think a lot of people overlook, and I'm very excited about this piece. It's going to allow the lines of business and the clients to request their own products from you, but not just simply request the project, but include the rationale for the project, include the description of the corporate initiative, the needs analysis, the KPIs, everything that has resulted in this request, and detail out what they think the solution ought to be. And then take that information and forward it into L&D or the organization where it can be prioritized and assessed. And then, once the project begins and it carries forward, have that information passed all the way through so at the very end we can compare what was given us at the very beginning with what was produced, and did we hit the mark. Vendor management. We're not looking to replace procurement here, but you as a leader need to keep an eye on your vendors. Need to know whether they're following your standards, if they're producing quality, are they staying on budget, and right now it's kind of cold. So we need to be able to have an environment that allows us to keep an eye on the vendors to make sure they're successful and that they're providing the value that we are paying them for. Contracting and invoicing, especially important if you're the consulting organization and you've been hired and you need to be able to invoice your client for the work being done, or maybe you have freelancers and the freelancers need to be able to contract and invoice you. Metrics and measurement, mentioned this earlier before, but the beauty of the DMS is it's collecting data all the way. All these things that you see prior to here are working together and giving you data so you can make decisions. Workflow management. I mean, let's take a look at a typical e-learning course. It has a lot of graphics, it has a lot of media items, it has a lot of audio files, it has content, it has different modules and topics of content that are in various stages of review and passing back and forth for the subject matter expert. So we need a way to organize that. We need a way to make sure that it's effective. SME collaboration. If you don't have a good relationship with your SME, you're not going to produce a very good product. This is really, really important to understand. And so we needed to make sure we created a space where the teams and the SMEs could collaborate effectively and keep the SMEs happy and produce a really good product. Online user testing, this is something that just does not happen often enough in our industry. The ability to actually take your e-learning and make it available to your audience during development, at the alpha stage, at the beta stage. The ability to have a SME review that's online in the ultimate environment as opposed to being on paper, and then collect feedback from that test. You know, all the feedback coming from a user test is simply going to make the product better. But it's not very efficient if I've got to collect the feedback on spreadsheets and via email and Word documents. So the DMS has got to provide a very effective way of allowing for an online test and collecting the feedback as a result of that test. Document management, control. This is a big issue when you're dealing with SMEs and looking at content and drafts of making sure that you've got the most recent version and you're not overriding someone else's work. So that's got to be provided. And then, of course, the other side of the equation, from the planning and project management side, where we put together the budgets and we put together the workflow that we think we're going to follow, is collecting the actuals along the way for each individual. What project did they work on, what client, what task were they performing, how many hours on what day were they performing it. A standard timesheet that allows us to collect the actuals for this entire production and portfolio, and be able to do then very, very accurate assessments as to whether or not we're on target, and if we're a consulting company, whether or not we're on budget all the way through the project as opposed to waiting till the end. And of course, templates and styles. One of the things that the development management system offers is the ability, as you create each new project and each new business initiative, to have preloaded the templates and styles that the overall L&D organization believes are the most effective. So they're not buried in a repository someplace where somebody has to have the behavior to go look for them. They're right there in the forefront. As I create each new project, I've got my project template, so I can use a consistent workflow regardless of what we're building. I've got my templates for design documents and instructor guides and storyboards, all the things that I need right there. These all give me a fighting chance of having a methodology, of being able to very uniformly across my entire organization roll out a process that I know everyone's going to follow. If I'm a consulting organization, especially if I'm growing fast, this is fundamental because my clients are trusting me to produce a good product, and I have new people coming on board. I need to make sure that I've got all the tools in their hands and that they've got a consistent process to be effective. Likewise, if I'm an internal corporate L&D organization and I've got 2, 3 dozen different vendors working for me, I want to make sure that they are doing things consistently with the way I believe that they should be done. So these are the primary feature sets of a development management system. Now, we organize the system to follow the life cycle of L&D. It's not enough to just simply have the functionality out there. It's got to be in the right place at the right time when I need it. So it starts with the request. So we get the request from a client. We've got the key performance indicators, the needs analysis, and everything that we need to set up the right kind of project for what we're going to produce. That produces our budget and the plan, and now we can take a look at the resources. Who's the most talented for this particular project? Who's available? How can we get these things scheduled? This gives us the plan that we can now use to manage the overall workflow, the day-to-day operations that are underway between the SMEs and the stakeholders and the teams and the vendors, and be able to manage that day-to-day and collect the actual performance along the way so I can have really strong financial management. I can see where things are while they're in process, and of course I want to be able to compare how things were 6 months ago versus how we're doing right now, measure all these results to come up with the metrics that I can tie back to my KPIs and know that at the end of the day, what I produced reflects and solves the problems that were identified initially. So you want to see what it looks like? I'm going to show you some screenshots. I wish that this was a live demo and I could actually show you the system in action, but we're going to have to settle for some screenshots right now. So if I'm a leader, I'm leading my L&D organization, or I'm leading my consulting company, what's the first thing I need? Visibility. I need to be able to see all my projects, no matter who's developing them, where it's being developed, across the planet, by all my vendors. Very quickly, I need a snapshot of what's going on. I don't want stacks of paper. I don't want to have to call all the different account managers to find out. I want true visibility into my entire domain. And I want the status of everything very quickly. I don't have enough time to dive into 100 different projects. So tell me the 3 or 4 I really ought to be paying attention to. So we've got a number of indicators that help you hone in on projects that have issues, and do so early in the process where conversations are easy to have with project managers and with clients to determine, is the budget right? Is the scope expanding more than expected? Are all the resources measuring up to the expectations that we had? And be able to have that dialogue and have those conversations very quickly early in the process. And of course, I need to be able to manage my whole portfolio of people, no matter where they are around the country, where they are in terms of usage of contractors and such. Find out who's busy, find out who's overworked, so I can balance my resources, find out who's available. If I'm a consulting organization and I just sold a major account with a new client, I need to know where my capacity is. I need to know who's available that I can assign. Likewise, if I'm an internal L&D organization and there's a new initiative. We've just redesigned, or we're going to redesign the entire curriculum for customer service, or we're going to roll out a whole new information system within all of manufacturing. These are big initiatives. I need to be able to take my resources and say who's available to help do this. Do I need outside support? Be able to have that dialogue, and of course be able to know if they're any good. Not to be facetious, but not every L&D, every training project is the same. So I may need different types of skills. And so if I'm setting up a new initiative, I want to be able to see the skill set of each individual and make sure I'm picking the right people for the job. And a reliable forecast. I want to look into the future. I want to know, do I have enough business to support the people that I have? And if I have new business coming on board, do I have the capacity to do that? And I want to be able to do it very quickly. And I want my data in real time. I need financials. If I'm running a consulting organization, I have a business to run. I need to make sure every project's on budget. I need to make sure that my organization is profitable, or else I don't have a healthy business and I can't provide really good service to my clients if my business is struggling. Likewise, if I'm internal, they gave me a pot of money at the beginning of the year and they're not going to give me any more money till the end of the year. So I need to have a real-time reflection of my financials to make sure that I'm going to get the most out of my budget dollars every year. This is possibly one of the more exciting areas within the development management system. As I mentioned earlier, we're not producing credit cards and tires. I have a lot of things going on at one time, and I need the ability for my teams and my stakeholders and SMEs to collaborate. So this portal provides one spot where everybody can go, and the most recent deliverables are available. They're available for review by leadership. They're available to download by the SMEs. If they're paper-based, then it opens up the application that it was developed in so that you can do your review. If it's an online course, this is where it gets really exciting because it'll actually launch the course itself. So the portal actually allows an instructional designer to upload their work and then make it available and launch it, and then collect that feedback, collect those comments from people that are reviewing it so that we can continuously improve the product. And then all the project information related to it. It's a common portal that gives me everything I need to know about what's going on within a project and everything that I need to form a really good relationship with my stakeholders. Project managers, the tool pretty much looks like what you'd expect it to look like. It allows you to take a project and break it down and assign people and track its progress. For the learners, I've mentioned this a couple times, but the ability for them to take a look at the course, enter their comments, and then turn that into workflow. Take each one of that feedback and assign it to a person, allow them to make the adjustment necessary, whether they're fixing it or whether they're engaging dialogue with SMEs, whatever it might be, but be able to track it along the way. And of course, support for leaders and real-time data. I need to be able to take a look at how we were doing 6 months ago and be able to compare it with what we're doing right now. And I want that data to always be accurate. I can't rely on monthly reports to be able to do this. It's complicated. Running a complex organization, there's a lot of moving parts, and I need to be able to have that data in front of me and know that it's accurate so that I can make decisions about the future. Too often, this is what it feels like. We're on our own, we've been abandoned, we've got a lot of things to do, and we're a little bit overwhelmed, and we're having to make up our own tools. What I want is something that feels like this. I want strength, power, speed. I want the entire infrastructure that I need to get my job done. I want to be able to form a really good team and make them successful. This is what I'm looking for. This is exactly why we formed Quantum 7. This wasn't about simply grabbing something, an existing technology, and say, hey, let's make a better mousetrap. This was about solving a major problem in the training industry, that through collecting data from all of our collective clients and watching our competitors and talking to our brethren at both the larger corporations and the smaller corporations, there was a massive hole in what we were trying to do. There was no ERP system for learning and development, and that's why we built Quantum Connect. I would love to show you more. If you go to our website, there's demos, there's videos, how the system works, and of course contact me. You can contact me through this, or you can contact me at my personal email that I showed earlier, which was w.west@quantum7.com. And let's talk about this because I would enjoy showing it to you. I think it's exactly what a lot of organizations need to become more efficient, to be able to adopt innovation, to be able to get the basics right so that you can focus on the really hard stuff. Happen to be If you happen to be at ASTD in May, swing by. We're going to have a booth there. You're going to be able to see the system in action, talk to the technical staff, talk to the professionals that have used this for the last 10 years over and over and over again, and find out how it works and think about your own environment and talk to them about how it might work in your own environment. And I would look forward to seeing you. So that's it. I recorded this by request. I hope it gave you enough information to determine whether this is a technology that would benefit you. And then please reach out because we would enjoy talking to you and determining whether we can provide value. Thank you very much.